Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Political Science 100, Introduction to American Government. I'm your instructor, Dr. Zara Ahmed, and I am going to be creating short informational videos to go along with the course content, just to help you be sure you have a good understanding of what we're covering in class, and to help you be prepared so that you can be successful in the class. So the purpose of this first video is just to guide you through the syllabus, to point out some of the important components and sections in the syllabus, and hopefully to help prepare you for quiz number 1, which will cover your syllabus and some elements of your team project. So what you're looking at on your screen here is the syllabus for Wednesday's Intro to American Government class. I also have a Friday Intro to American Government class, so I will pull that syllabus up just to point out some of the key dates, but both of the syllabi are pretty much the same aside from the different dates. The first thing I want to do is point out your required reading materials here. You have one required textbook, and then both of the additional short readings will be provided in PDF format. As far as the student learning outcomes, this section is important to know because you will be asked about the student learning outcomes for the class. So you should just be familiar with where they are, and as we go through the class, I'll be referring you back to these outcomes to point out when we're learning or doing things that speak to the skills that you want to be able to gain from the class. Now, as far as course expectations, how to study for this course, I'm not going to read the entire list, but I do think it's important for you to have this just as a resource so that you all understand what you need to do to be prepared and to be successful. We have attendance. A little bit of explanation will come after we talk about the assignments. It's also important to think critically. That's very important and necessary for success in this class. Participation is key, and we'll talk about that a bit more after the assignments as well. And then respect for one another and for the classroom community that we are creating, because we will have lots of discussions, whether it's in small groups, in pairs, or in large groups. So it's always important to be respectful and remember that everyone's opinion counts and everyone's experience counts. Classroom policies. I just will point out the headings for each section, and it would be a good idea for you to review these so that you know where to find the information when you need it. There's an email policy, basically saying that you need to email me by 8 p.m. each day if you expect me to see your email that day. There's a policy on late arrivals, so that's very important to know. Electronic devices. Makeups and late assignments. There are some things that you really can't make up because it's a very interactive class, so that list of assignments is here. Excused absences, there's a policy for that. Some information on dropping the course. Assignment format and submission, just so you know how all of your assignments should be formatted. Extra credit, we'll talk about that in a couple more weeks. Academic integrity, and then students with disabilities. Now, here is the assignment table, and this is useful for you to know just because it outlines all of the assignments in the class, and it tells you how many points each assignment is worth. And here you have your point totals, and for the Wednesday class, you have a total of 300 points possible. For the Friday class, you have a total of 296 points possible, simply because we have the Lincoln holiday. But all of the assignments are the same. So again, attendance is mentioned here in a bit more detail. And one thing that's important for you to note is that if you arrive tardy 3 times, then after that, you'll just be marked absent and you won't be able to get any attendance points for that day. Participation. Important to note that you're going to need to bring in something, a news article or a journal article or a book that's related to information related to either the course content that we're covering or your team's topic. So we'll talk about that more, and you won't be expected to bring that in until I remind you, and I'll send you a few updates and announcements, but that will be something you need to do as part of participating on your team and participating in the class. Pre and post-test student learning outcomes. Wednesday's class has already taken the pre-test. Friday's class will take one on Friday. You can review that section for more information. And then we have our take action assignments, our taking sides debates. This is a bit more explanation about each one of those assignments. We also have a paragraph reviewing our quizzes. You will need to review the syllabus so that you can be prepared for your first quiz, but we will have a total of 4 quizzes in the class. So it's important to know what kind of information you might be quizzed on and look at the schedule so you can see when they're coming up. The Government in Action Final Team Project. This section basically gives you an overview of your final team project and your team project update, which is these two things replace your midterm and your final exam. So it's a good idea to review this section well and be clear on what components are required. So the oral presentation, the presentation slides, the written report, all of the components that you'll be putting together over the course of the semester, you should know that so that you're ready for the class and ready for your quiz. Your team project update represents the halfway point in getting your final project complete. So the components are very similar, pretty much the same, but you need to know about the point totals, what they're worth, and also when those assignments will be due. Finally, we will come to the schedule of readings and assignments. And as I said, the dates for the Wednesday class are different from the dates for the Friday class, but I just want to point out the way the table is organized. So on the left, in the left-hand column, we have the date, and you also have a module number. Your class is organized into modules so that it'll make it easier for you to find all of the information that you need all in one place. So what you need to know is that for week 1, February 1st, 2017, as far as the Wednesday class goes, that was considered module 1. And here is the information that we covered in class. Now, we have the online quiz number 1, and as you see under assignments and homework, you see the quiz is mentioned here because it actually opened on February 1st, but it doesn't close until Sunday, February 5th. So it's important to note that in the topic section, this is information that we will be discussing in class that day on this particular date. But in the assignments homework section, this is what you need to do to be prepared for the next week's class. So you can see a repetition. Read Tannehill Chapter 1, that's your textbook, A Changing America. And then next week for the Wednesday class, we will be discussing Tannehill Chapter 1, A Changing America. I will be uploading short informational videos to give you some supplementary information, but nothing will replace you reading your text. And when we engage in activities or discussions, you will need to have read in order to participate fully. I also tried to put your due dates in red just to get your attention so that they would stand out for you. So as you can see, quiz number 1 opened on the 1st and closes on Sunday, January 5th. For the Friday course, I'll just scroll down just to show you. It's the same format, but when we get to your course schedule, you will have your quiz number 1. It will open on Friday and it will close on Tuesday, February 7th. So as you can see, the information covered in the classes is the same, but since you all meet on different days, you have different due dates. So just keep that in mind. DB stands for discussion board, and we will talk about that in more detail in class. And then we will also have debates in class, as mentioned before. You will have a team project wiki, which is an opportunity, kind of like a Google Doc, an opportunity for everyone to contribute text and information so that you can do your written reports. And there will be some additional uses of technology as well. But if you scroll through the syllabus before you take quiz number 1, make sure you're familiar with all of the different sections. You don't have to memorize the information, but you just need to know where to find it. And then you should be prepared to take your quiz. Also keep in mind we'll have 4 quizzes total. 2 of those quizzes will be online and 2 will be in person. So this first online quiz that you have coming up, you'll have 10 minutes to complete the quiz. So you need to make sure you're prepared before you start. And again, here you see I make notes to remind you to prepare for activities or events because if you prepare here for homework on 3/22/17 in the Wednesday class, I have prepare for quiz number 3 because on 3/29/17 that is the day when you'll actually take the quiz. So the format for the syllabus is the same between both classes. Also make note of the dates where we have no in-person class, but you are still expected to complete several assignments. So, for example, on April 5th, we do not meet in person, but you will need to connect with your team and discuss each team member's contribution to the final team project wiki. And as you can see here, I put that as your homework, that each team member needs to complete a minimum of 3 paragraphs to the final team project wiki. And it is due at 11:59 on April 5th. That way you can, if you've waited until 11:59, then you're not going to be able to have as full a discussion as you would otherwise, but you still need to connect with your team, and I need to be able to see that you have uploaded the information to the wiki in the time that you were asked by the due date. Last thing that I'll point out, we have 2 days of final presentations, May 17th and May 24th for the Wednesday class, and for the Friday class, final presentations are May 19th for Group A and May 26th for Group B. So both classes should check your syllabus just to make sure that you are clear on having everything uploaded by the due dates, being prepared for your oral presentation, your slide presentation, to deliver your creative visual aid, and also ready to submit your written reports by the due dates given. So we'll talk about this a bit more in class, but this video is meant to give you extra information because you can watch it as many times as you'd like and then use that to help make sure you're prepared for the class. Thanks very much. I'm looking forward to this semester. Everyone, have a great evening.